Hello again, the boy from Tor, and this is my little man. This is Trampsy. Oh, Trampsy missed me when I went to Tor, he did. But I'm back home now and he's delighted to see me. And Trampsy loves listening to a story as well, he does. He's a bit hot and bothered, but we're not quite in Tor, we're in a little village called Watton in Bedfordshire. It's a grand little place. I grew up outside the village of Terrace Pass called Tor, and it's nice to be back living in a village. It's nice and quiet, and everyone says hello, and it's grand. But I'm thinking of the stories about the old bogmen when I was a boy in Tor. I used to, my father, to keep me out of trouble, particularly with my mother. I used to clash badly with my mother. He took me round and brought me round all his old mates, and some of them were bogmen, old bachelor men that lived in the bogs all their life, and they were fantastic characters, and they had a great old influence on me at the time, and they taught me more than I probably ever learned at school about the folklore and the land and everything. But I remember sitting at the bridge of the Silver River one night, and a little Paddy, I used to call him. His right name was Jack the Crib Kilmurray, but he come along wheeling his bicycle. And he knew I was having a hard time at home, and he wouldn't have to tell these men that they could tell you what was going on better than you knew yourself. And he was only a little small fella, just about 5'10" or 11" in height, and he used to wheel the bicycle everywhere. His legs weren't long enough to cycle it, and he said I was fishing at the Derry Coffee Bridge at the Silver River, and it was a lovely moonlit night. You could see all up across the bog. And he said to me, he said, they're out there. Who's that, Paddy? Who's out there? The fairies, he said. Is that right? I said. How come I can't see them? He said, you'll learn to see them one day, he said, when they'll show themselves to you. It's not when you want to see them. How do you know that? Well, he said, I was about your age, he said, and he said, I was having an awful hard time, shocking hard time of it, he said. Jack Donohoe across the road there, the other bogman, he'd be teasing me about, I had a little hump on my back, he said, and I'd wake knees, he said, and I was only a little lad, and they were always tormenting me, and he said, one day, he said, I walked on up into the bog, he said, and we got the next thing, he said, she appeared. The loveliest looking woman I ever saw in my whole life, he said, and she was picking berries off the tree. And she looked round and she said to me, who are you? I'm Jack Kilmurray. And what are you doing up here in the bog, Jack? Well, I'm trying to get away from Donohoe and the rest of them, he said. They're making an old Egypt out of me, he said. She said, come in here, she said. To my people, she said, and we won't make an Egypt out of you. And he said, she brought me into the woods, he said, and because I was playing, they were the loveliest people, he said, she's just like ourselves, he said. But because, he said, before I had a great time, and before I was going to leave, he said, didn't they give me the bumps? He said, and I landed on the heather, he said, and the hump was gone off my back, and my knees were strong. He said, but I stayed the same height. I didn't grow any more since that. He said, and I come down out of the bog anyway, and the following day, Donohoe said to me, Jack, where's the hump gone on your back? Well, now, he said, I was promised not to tell you. I can't tell you. But he kept at me, where's the hump gone off your back, he said, and your knees aren't weak anymore. Because, he said, eventually I had to tell him, he kept at me. And because, he said, I wonder would she take the warts off my hands. He said his two hands were covered in warts. So because didn't he go up and he went up for weeks looking out for her. Eventually he saw her one day. She was picking berries. She turned round and said, "Who are you?" "I'm Jack Donohoe," he said. "From Torbog." "And what are you doing up here?" She said. "Oh, I'm looking for the Fairy Queen. Would you be the Fairy Queen?" "I might," she says. "And what do you want from the Fairy Queen?" "I'm wondering would she remove the warts off me hand like she took the hump off Kilmurray's back." "And who told you that?" "Well, Kilmurray told me." She said, "I told him not to tell anyone." "Well, he didn't," he said. "That's my fault." He said, "I kept at him and at him till I got it out of him." But she said, "I'll tell you what, Jack, come in here and play with my people and we'll see what we can do." So because Jack went in and they were playing anyway, and before he left, didn't all the fairies give him the bumps? And when he landed on the heather, didn't he have Kilmurray's hump on his back and the wake knees, and the warts were still in his hand? You see, and then Kilmurray said to me, "That's what you get if you mess with the fairies." He said, "Never mess with them." He said, and that was the crack. And them was the stories I grew up, and there were lovely stories at the time. Television was really a load of rubbish at that time, and the people made their own entertainment. But it got you up the bog, and you did see the magic. You know, imagine sitting on a bridge at maybe 1 o'clock in the morning on a moonlit night, and you're there because you're afraid to go home. You don't want to be at home. Home is not a good place. But you're out in this beautiful place, and next thing you see the whole river lighting up. It's about 2 miles dead straight out the bog. It's overgrown a bit now, but it was lovely and clean back then in them days. And the whole river shone in a silver path the whole way up. And next thing, it kind of scared me the first time it happened. But you hear this whoosh, whoosh, whoosh coming down the river. 4 swans. No, sorry, there was 5 swans. 2 pairs and 1 bachelor swan coming down the line of the river. Only about 20 feet up over your head. Like I say, probably 1 o'clock in the morning. And you knew exactly where they were going. They were going 2 miles further up into Moneykill Bog to the Bog Loch of Sorrows. That's where they used to park up there. Them was lovely, lovely times. Now,